Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to another technical analysis update. I'll just do the normal checks and make sure that the sound is working and that the video is working. So just bear with me just a second. Video is working. Audio is working too. Okay, so let's crack straight on. I do apologize for the lack of notice for this. I've had a busy day, and rather than announcing this an hour before, I've got to go literally in about an hour again. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a sort of improvised, unplanned kind of quick technical analysis update. Also, as a result, I will not be doing the TA for altcoins today, just because not really much has changed in the altcoin sector, and I did a very extensive one on Monday. So I think I will I'll catch up with the altcoins on Friday. But for today, I'll just do a quick Bitcoin and Ethereum TA update so that to help you guys stay on the right side of the market. So anyway, let's crack on with the stock market. You can see the great majority of it is in the red. It didn't react very well to the CPI print. The CPI, if you don't know what it is the Consumer Price Index, and it's come out higher than what was predicted. So the CPI actually is a measure of inflation, and what that means is that obviously the inflation is a little bit higher than what they expected or what they played out to be. So it's either growing quicker, or it's just simply not enough with what they're doing with the interest rate hikes and stuff. So as a reflection of that, you can see obviously there was volatility in the markets, like I said to you guys in the group. And the volatility brought a bit of a whipsaw, but in the great majority is in the red. So as such, let's have a look at the cryptocurrency heat map. Now that doesn't seem to be very reflected in the crypto market, but the majority of it is in the green. There's a mixed bag here with altcoins. As you can see, some of them are like deeply in the red here, above 3%, but the majors are all in the green or pretty much neutral. Now, again, for the CPI print, that happened today around about 1:32 p.m., 2 p.m. UK time. And, of course, the CPI came back positive, so actually higher than what was projected. So I think they had projected 1.1% for forecast, and it came out as 1.3%. And also for the CPI, the core CPI, was projected at 0.5, and it's come out at 0.7. So nothing really crazy, but definitely higher than what they expected. So hence why we're seeing a negative effect in the markets. So let's crack on with the charts. And now looking here at the chart on the weekly, on the S&P, not really much has changed. Again, we are kind of being rejected at that level, around about 3,900 points. And it's just the price can just not get back above that. All right, so that's still nothing, no change there. 3,900 remains resistance. In terms of the 4-hour chart, you can see here there was a little bit of volatility. Again, nothing extreme, but you can see here on 8th of July, yeah, you can see here basically in the last sort of like 4 hours we saw a nice big wick to the upside, and then boom, it smashed straight back down, and now we're straight back to the normal thing. So basically just a whipsaw, just doing the normal sort of like go up, take out the stops, and then go back to normal and revert to the mean. So that's basically what's happened there. And I did say that to you guys, obviously, to just be careful with the volatility. And if you're quick and if you're watching the markets, it's very good. We're here for the volatility, but this can completely wreck all your trades. So of course we traveled up first, took out all those stops of anybody that was short here, then it went massively down to the downside here. When everybody decides that this is going to go massively down, then it goes back up again, and here we are back to the mean. Okay, so nothing really much to be said there in terms of direction. I think we're very much still on a downtrend. As you can see here, we're still printing lower highs and lower lows. Not really much has changed, and unless we break above 4,200 points, then I don't think there's any change in market dynamics here. Okay, it would help to just sort of like break above this 3,900 here, so this level here, that would help. But here around about 4,000 points is where the cookie crumbles. So we'll just have to wait and see. And basically what you're seeing is what I'm trying to talk and explain to you guys is this low volume area here, right? So if we can break above that, that would be a great start. Okay, so break above that, that means we're back inside the value area low, right? And then it would be a matter of time until we break that high there. But that's the change in market structure that we want to see. Okay, we want to see these highs taken out. Okay, so if it does something like this, even if it comes all the way back down to this low volume area here, right, then that's at least a higher high, and then we just have to print a higher low. Okay, so hopefully a higher low would be somewhere around about here on the edge of this high volume cluster there. So I hope it makes sense, that around about 3,960 points. Okay, but crucially we have to break above 4,000 points. Okay, and to be convincing, so it's not a lower high, because this is the high, right? To be convincing, it wants to go above 4,200, right, which is basically where we are here, around about 4,200. Right, so that's basically the change in market structure that we want to see in the traditional finance. On the Nasdaq, very much the same thing. Okay, so we had volatility to the upside, volatility to the downside, and then just reversal to the mean. Right, so it just reverted back to where we were this morning. So nothing really kind of changed in that sense. Right, so we're still kind of ranging. All right, so moving on to Bitcoin. So let's start with Bitcoin, and I want to point something out that has been pointed out to me, and everybody's going on about it right now. Okay, so this is the pi cycle, and this is basically a combination of moving averages. Now, you know, I'm not really into indicators at all, right? But what we're looking here, so let's take the bottom one out first. What we're looking here is a change, it's basically a change of moving averages, right? When the moving averages cross, right? And it signals a top. Now, this has been historically really quite accurate. Right, so let me just take this off, take these rays off, take these rays off in the higher front frames like that. Okay, and put this on logarithmic scale so that we can see this on the weekly scale here. Right, so we're looking at the pi cycle tops, right, which is basically when this moving average crosses the other one. And they've been pretty accurate, as you can see it here. That was a top, right, we just went down for a while, right. Here was a top, went down for a while. This is 2014, 2015 bear market, right? Then this one is 2018 top, right? Bear market here for 3 years, right? And then we had one, and then we had one here at round about 12th of April 2021, right, which is around about $65,000. Of course, the market still rallied a little bit, so it came down, right, but then it kind of rallied, it went all the way up here, it took out the previous high, right, and then here we are in the bear market, right? So that's the pi cycle top, and it's been pretty damn accurate, other than the fact that we kind of like swept the highs here before actually dumping. Right, so it was a little bit early on that pi cycle top there. So now what's interesting is that the bottom indicator, I'll take the top off just so that you guys can see. Now the bottom indicator is just flagged as printed a bottom on Bitcoin, right? So again, this is a very small sample size because Bitcoin is not that old, right? But here we are. So when we crossed back up, it created a bottom there. It printed pi cycle bottom, and of course, we did take out with this little wick here, took out the previous low, right? But it was definitely an indication of that the low was close, right? The same here, back in November 2018, right? So that was seen as the bottom. We did dump here in March 2020, right? Which was that COVID dump thing, but it couldn't take out that bottom yet. And there we go. And now it's telling us that there's a bottom here again. So the bottom's very close, right? And even if we sort of like do something like this, go back up a little bit, and then come back and take those previous lows and go back up again, you know, that's still like, you know, on the grand scale of things, when you look at this here, right, on the grand scale of things, it's pretty damn accurate, right? So this was a bottom here, and then this wick came down and took that previous bottom out, right? Just like it did with the latest pi cycle top. Right, so this is an indicator that, you know, if you like indicators, this is something with moving averages and stuff. It's something that is definitely interesting. Okay, I still think that this bottom here needs to be taken out. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that because everybody's talking about it, and some people are asking me, like, you know, what's a pi cycle? And it's just a combination of moving averages, right? So you can look at it for the pi cycle top. I think it's 350, the long moving average, and 111 days, right? So this is the pi cycle top, and for the pi cycle bottom, it's the 471 by the 150. Okay, and that's sort of like what's signaling the bottom right now. Okay, this is kind of like a little bit subjective, of course. You know, you can argue that these are actually a little bit ambiguous, because the price can still come and take out, just like it did take out the highs. You know, so for example here, where the pi cycle top kind of signaled here, right, and then the price still went higher, not by much, but it took out the previous highs. Right, and this is a pattern that we've seen throughout Bitcoin, throughout this whole thing, right? So I'm going to show you that now on the daily chart here, right? Let me just show you this a little bit more objectively. So here's a top. Before the dump, what happens? We go and sweep the top, sweep the stops before we actually dump, right? Before we actually go down. Okay, here we print a top here. What does the price do? Sorry, I'll do that again. Print a top there, sweeps the highs, goes lower. Right, same here. Print a top. What does the price do? Sweep the highs, go lower. Right. You can argue the same here. Print a top, sweep the highs. Print a top here. Swept the highs, came down, right? If we look closer here, same thing. Well, this actually swept those highs there, right? Here, print a top there, swept the highs, dump. Retest, always retest, but dump nevertheless, right? So here, we're ranging, printed a top there, what happens? Sweep the top, and then dump, right? Let's have a look at the most recent price action now. Take these VWAPs off. Right, it doesn't matter, I'll just leave the VWAP on. Okay, look at that. There's a top. Sweep the tops. Come down. Right, this is a nice little daily order block there, highlighted in blue. Look at where the price. Oh, beg me a pardon. Just bear me a second. Right. So basically, we've got daily order block here. Right. Look at where the price came to. Right to the edge of that. Right, I mean, you couldn't really, how closely accurate that is, right? So it completely cleaned out the top there, and then it came back down, right? So it cleaned out this top, which basically this was a top, price dumped, came out, take out all the stops, and then continue downwards. And that's basically what it's been doing for ages on Bitcoin, right? So, you know, even though it's already signaled a bottom here, right, I wouldn't be surprised to see exactly the same thing, which is basically we sweep these lows here, right, and then we rally, right? So I'm looking at around about 16k for the bottom at the moment. Okay, of course we can go a little bit lower, but if I look at the price action and the previous price action, I mean, right, you can see that the low volume node is around about here between 16k and 17,200, and that would be perfect to go all the way down here like this and then fake and go up. Right now, I don't know if this is definitely the bottom. Okay, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not here to give you financial advice. It's just for educational and entertainment purposes. But you know, if there was anywhere to pick a bottom, it would be somewhere like around this area here, somewhere right around 16k, right? So, and then it depends, of course, of what the recession is doing, and if this is going to carry on being correlated with the S&P. So there's lots of moving factors. There's no point of trying to predict that. But I just thought I'd point out that pi indicator, the moving averages, because usually they're pretty damn accurate. So the bottom is very close, at least from the, considering the sort of the sample size. But anyway, so that was the higher time frame kind of like analysis sort of thing, right? So it's not really, there we are. Put this on the weekly. Let me just reorganize all this again, right? So anyway, what are we looking at right now? For me, let me just delete this as well. So you can see that from today's price action, it's really quite cancerous, really. Where is the, oh, am I on the index? That's why. So just bear me a second. There we go. Right. That makes more sense now. So basically, we are below the previous range, right? So this was the range low. We're kind of below that now, right? So this big wick that we've just seen here, that's basically because of the CPI print. We got all the way to the monthly view up and we rolled over, right? So this was basically the perfect entry for a short if you're looking at 17,000 or 16,000 for your bottom, right? So the price cycle bottom is already kind of indicated here that we are sort of close to the bottom. That was a perfect short. However, if you missed it, it doesn't matter, okay? I do think that this will get taken out. This line here around about 17,300 is an interesting line that I've got just because it's right on the edge of a balance there. I've highlighted this on the weekly chart. But 17,300 is where the low volume node starts. So we could come all the way down here, right? And then just bounce, and that means that we've taken out that previous poor low there and straight back inside the range, okay? At the moment, 19,600 remains the level of contention, okay? If we can get back above 19,600, then we've got a very good chance of starting to rotate back inside of this range here, right? Back to the range highs. But at the moment, we're not seeing evidence of that. We couldn't even get above the monthly view up. So I think we've got some more downside to come first, okay? Moving onto the 30-minute chart here on the weekly view up, as you can see, we were basically rejected right here at the weekly view up, right? And it's now looking to find lower prices. If we look for those levels that I was talking about, you can see what 17,300, that blue line that I've got, is right on the edge of this high volume cluster here. Do you see that? Right, so I've got the high volume cluster there, and that's the first of the low volume nodes, okay? If it goes below that, then I think 16,500 is a possibility, and maybe even 14,500, okay? So it could be any of those. 14,500 is an important one because it is the 2020 VWAP close, okay? So we could definitely go all the way down there, especially if there are cascading liquidations. So, catching a bottom is not easy, right? But I think these are potentially the levels that you would see a bounce from, okay? That's basically what I'm trying to say here, right? So if we are close to a bottom, these are the levels that I'd be looking for a bounce. Now on the shorter time frames, like I said, you can look at these levels that I've just put on. Make this one a bit brighter as well so that you guys can see it. Right, so we've got 14,600, 16,400, and 17,300. Those are all levels that I'm interested in, okay? That's just looking at the volume profile. If I was to look at the weekly levels, and I'm just going to put the weekly levels on. In fact, I'm going to put the monthly levels on as well. On the 4-hour chart, we don't actually see, we've got a weekly level here at 18,200. That's an old weekly level, right? But then we don't have another one all the way down till $12,000, okay? And what I mean by the weekly closes is basically weekly closes that are meaningful here, right? On this kind of in terms of consolidation, they're just continuous. If they're on if I put this on the weekly chart, you'll see what I mean. Right, this is the last one. Everything else is just green, 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 green all the way up. Okay, so this is the previous weekly close here. So in terms of consolidation, that's the last of the weekly levels here, 18,100. Okay, so these are all levels for me in terms of volume that are important, but not necessarily, they're not gospel, you know, they're not something that it has to bounce there or anything like that. They're just levels that I'm watching. Okay, so let me just delete that a second and clean it up again and put this on the 4-hour chart. So I'm all over the place. I'm sorry, I didn't plan this. This is just a spontaneous one. So let's just start again. We've got an 18,200. We've got a weekly level there. Okay, potentially we could come all the way down here, sweep those lows, right, and reclaim that level. If we reclaim that level 18,200, I'm going long. Okay, just because that weekly level should hold as support like it has before, right? And a sweep below, for me, a sweep below this is bullish. Okay, so if, let me just put forward a scenario. If it does this and it continues going down and then cannot get back above this weekly level here, for me that's a short position and we're going much lower. All right, however, if we get all the way up here and then reclaim this weekly level, 18,200 will remain a key level. Okay, and then we've also got this one, 19,200, but 18,200 will be the one that's closest after a sweep, if we get the sweep. Okay, and by a sweep I mean taking out these previous lows, something like this, and then going back up again. All right, so that's basically what I want to see. I want to see these lows taken out in order to be bullish. Okay, and this is basically the levels that I'm looking at for a bounce there. All right, that's basically it. For now, sort of like shorter time frames, really, there's, you know, that was basically the short position there. There's no point of entering a short now. This is where you should have entered a short position here, around about the weekly or the monthly VWAP, right, targeting this level here and potentially those levels there, right? But at the moment we're not really it's not really favorable shorting here, okay, because technically this is kind of could potentially be support, right? And we don't get that sort of sweep that we wanted, so we'll just have to wait and see. In my opinion, I think we go lower. I think we take out this, but also we're not favorable to take a short here unless we pump back up a little bit. Okay, that was the favorable position. For long positions, like I said, I will expect a little bounce here just for a long scalp, but I would like to see a big capitulation candle, a nice big wick to the downside like that, take out the previous low, and then if it starts going back up and reclaims that weekly level, that's my long signal, and I'll be going long and I'll be targeting the fucking moon. All right, and I'll be happy to say that that was a bottom, at least temporarily. Okay, so that's my analysis for Bitcoin right now. If I look at Exocharts, let's have a look if anything changed here. Not really much has changed, but so yesterday's profile, which is basically this one here, we left a poor low and a poor high. Well, that was corrected today. The poor high was corrected here. We took out that poor high and we came all the way back down again, all the way down here, right? But and we bounced just on the edge of this here, but we are kind of inside of a balance area here. So basically you see this here, right? So this is basically two profiles merged together, right? So I merged these two because the value areas are merge those three actually because the value areas overlap, right? So that gives me a 3-day composite value. Okay, and I've got, this is the value area high, this is the value area low, and you can see that basically we're now rotational inside it. Okay, so the bottom of that is around about $19,000, the top of that is around about $19,500. It's a tight range, okay, but it's a $500 range nonetheless. If we manage to find ourselves above here, we've got another range between 19,900 and 20,400, okay, which is basically another 3-day composite value, which is, if I reset that, reset all the merges, it's actually a 2-day composite value here. That's a 2-day, and that one here is the 3-day. So two ranges forming for Bitcoin to find balance. Okay, as you know, it's always trying to find balance, and when it rallies or when it dumps, it's because it's fallen into an imbalance. Well, it did exactly that, and now it's trying to find balance here. If we find acceptance here, we'll be looking at 19,500 for the top. Anytime that it goes up there, it's a short. Anytime that it goes down here to 19,000, well, I would say that there's a long. But like I said, we've got this poor low here that needs correcting. Okay, there's no excess on that, so I think that will get taken out before long. Okay, so the targets to the upside, like I said, for now 19,500. If we break above that, then it will rally to 19,900, and then we'll have to wait and see if we get acceptance there. Okay, so it'll probably do something like this. For now, we'll probably just kind of like rotate here inside like this, right, until we break to either side. Like I said, I was hoping that we would see sort of like a little capitulation candle down to around about 17,000 or 16,500, and then straight back up, right? But it can also do something like this, rotate here, go all the way up there, try and find acceptance inside of here. But this for me is a short. Okay, the invalidation of that is very close, it's just above here, and if we find acceptance inside, it will consolidate like this and go straight to the other side, and then rotate there and find acceptance inside of this little range here. But of course, it's always a short when it goes and tries and taps that. Okay, so 20,000 to 19,500 is a short position if we do get up there. 19,500, 20,000. Okay, so this is a short, and if we get all the way up here, that's a short too. All right, and like I said, I'm targeting much lower, around about $17,000. That is really pretty much it for Exocharts here on Market Profile. In terms of the volume profile, I've already kind of did this on Monday, so there's not really much point of going over it again. We'll just have a quick look. Well, we've taken out that naked point of control at around about $19,000. Okay, so now the two naked points of control that we've got above us are 20,500 and 20,800. However, we do have a naked point of control at $16,800. Okay, now that would be perfect, and it will be somewhere between these two lines here, right? So that's 16,800 is around about there. Okay, that would be perfect to take out that low, cascading liquidations like this, take out the naked point of control, and then reclaim that level at 18,200 before we go up. That's basically what I want to see. All right, I've been away from the charts for a couple of days now just because I'm so busy, but overall, I think we've got potentially, there's been a bit of volatility, so we've got potentially a little bit of a range thing going on here at play, okay? Because we are above this weekly level here, right? We've got a weekly level below us. We've got all the VWAPs, the clusterfuck of VWAPs and that point of control above us, okay? So we could be rotating here, right? So let's see if we can do a little range like this. If we do a little range like this, then like I said, around about between 20,000 and 19,000, we'll eventually break it to some side, but I'll have a better technical analysis update for you guys on Friday. Today is just kind of a little bit ad hoc, a little bit improvised. So this range low here, 19,600, is resistance for now. 19,500, 19,600, okay? 19,300, where this weekly level is acting as support. So we could see a very tight range here like this. But I think eventually, if we hang around support for too long, we're going to break through, okay? This here should be support as well, 18,200. But I want to see a sweep of these. So we could just see a little bit of consolidation like this, go lower, reclaim it, and then we start doing constructive price action, okay? That's basically what I want to see. But we're very close to the bottom now, okay? So I'm starting to get a little bit reluctant on shorting this, okay? If it's shorts, I'm going to be looking at scalps, but I want to be looking at long positions from now on, okay? Especially if we've swept this. Even if it looks really crap, or in fact, especially if it looks really crap. All right, so that's Bitcoin. Let's move on to Ethereum versus USD. Ethereum versus USD, very much the same thing. We're still in the same place. We're just consolidating sideways. Hence why I just want to do a quick technical analysis update. We're just going sideways like this, okay? I want to be looking at around about $800, $1,000. We're at 1,058, so I'm looking at $800, $750, something like that, as a potential bottom here. Okay, if there is a sweep on Bitcoin, if there's a sweep lower, okay, we could potentially come as low as $800, $600, something like that. Nice big wick to the downside, and then we want to see that reclaim get back into this range where that's a long position. But if you're looking to enter long, you're looking at $660, $800, as the bottom for Ethereum right now. Okay. On the 4-hour chart, let me just delete all of these squiggles because you can see it in there. Okay, so if you look at the 4-hour chart, you can see that we're very much still in the range. Okay, we've tapped the lows here, we went straight to the other side, deviated above, came back to the other side. We've now deviated from the lows here, we could be on our way to the upside, but look at this range, is perfect. Deviation, go to the other side, deviation, go to the other side. It's a perfect range between $1,250 and $1,000. Okay, so again, I'd like to see a sweep just like this one here. I'd like to see a sweep below here, get everybody bearish, something like this, right, and then straight back up again. All right, and this will be the key level. The bottom of the range is always the key level once we deviate. All right, it's only a deviation if we reclaim it. If we do not reclaim it, that's actually a short position. If we do not reclaim that low there, this is the short entry, and you'll be targeting much lower prices. All right, so that's basically what we're looking at for Ethereum versus USD. And on Ethereum versus BTC, I've got we're basically still back on the 2020. This is no logarithmic, is it? So we're basically here at the 2021 VWAP close, right? We're still bouncing on that, and we're still getting rejected here from, let's do it on the 3-day chart. We're still getting rejected from the value area low of the 2022 VWAP, okay, the -2 standard deviation of the VWAP, right? So we're getting rejected there quite a number of times here, but we're also getting rejected below that 2021 VWAP. So at the moment we're kind of rotating here like this, right? If we get acceptance above this, then I think it's very quick to go up to 65,000 sats there, right? So it would be potentially something like this, and then this one here is a very, very strong area of resistance. And again, because we've got the developing years VWAP right there, and that's around about 70,000 sats, okay, 69,000 sats. So 65, 70, and at the moment right about 57, 60,000 sats, right, is the resistance levels. 60, 65 and 70, so it's nice, easy to remember. Okay, in terms of support, like I said, we've got the 2021 VWAP here, and we've also got a series of levels here, like basically volume levels, but looking really mainly at 45,000 sats as the main level of support here. 50,000 sats is a big number, we've already bounced it twice, so 50 and 45 as the main levels of support. Okay, resistance, like I said, 60, 65 and 70,000 sats. Okay, this is on the higher time frame, of course. If we look at the lower time frame, interesting, we had a little range going. This range is no longer accurate in my personal opinion. This is a more accurate range here, right, something like that. Yeah, something like that. We're bouncing on the midterm here, on the midpoint of the Fibonacci, but we've got a monthly VWAP just above us. Okay, so as long as we stay above this level, then we've got potential to go all the way to 58,000 sats. But if we cannot hold this level, then we're going to go all the way down to 50,000 sats. So at the moment, two ranges inside a bigger range, if that makes any sense. Okay, something like this. And of course, we are on the top range right now. All right, so rotating at the top here, but if we lose that mid-level there, then we'll be rotating at the bottom down here, something like that. Okay, so I hope this was useful. I'll just recap on Bitcoin here. Again, we are at support. I just want to clarify that, okay? We are at support, but we're also very close to resistance, because this bottom of this range here should now be acting as resistance. That's $19,600, $19,300 as support. If that breaks, we're going to go down to 18,200. All right, this will hold at first because it's a weekly level, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that sweep of the lows, and then essentially what we want to see, if we find ourselves down here like this, it starts rotating like this, well, essentially what I want to see is that sweep of the lows. I want to see a reclaim of that level. Okay, that's the signal for a long right there, because if it does this, falls below and then cannot get back above that level there, right, then that's an entry for a short, and we're going to go lower. All right, and I'll be looking perhaps at 12,000, maybe 14,600 or something like that. Okay, so that's basically the downside price action that I'd be looking for. If we actually break above this level here, 19,600, then we've got a bigger clusterfuck of VWAPs. Basically, we got the weekly and the monthly VWAP at $20,200. We've got a point of control at 20,500, more or less. Right, 20,500, so 20,200, 20,500, and of course $21,000, all levels of resistance before we even get to the top of the range. Okay, so weirder things have happened, but just keep that in mind. Okay, so it always goes with a path of less resistance, and we've got a resistance here, resistance here, resistance here, and here, and of course all the way at the top of this high volume cluster. So I do think that we need to sweep the lows convincingly before going up first. Okay, so that's basically the technical analysis for today. I will have another one on Friday, a little bit more complete. I'll go over the altcoins as well, and I'll spend an hour on the charts before doing this rather than doing an improvised one. But I hope it helps you stay on the right side of the trades. I wouldn't be so keen on entering shorts right now unless we get extended really high, and I won't be interested in long positions unless we've swept these lows. So that's basically my view of the markets. I'll have another TA for you guys on Friday. Until then, take care and speak to you soon. Bye bye.